And I remember thinking, I'm not interested in her. Like, this isn't my type. But then I had this realization, but I keep messing up all the other relationships. So what's the chance that maybe I don't even know what my type is? Maybe that's the reason why it's not working out, because every time when I'm choosing my type, I seem to just mess it up all the time. Maybe I should just listen to God bring this one about for me. So I said, you know what? Let's just go for it. Who cares? What do I know? I got to change something, because that saying, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
So hello and welcome to the person who's watching. This is another episode of the Man Manual, hosted by me, Kieran. And this is a show that's here to help to demystify men to women, women to men, dating, sex, relationships, and all of that good stuff. And today, I'm here with a very esteemed guest. Actually, someone who you guys might remember from one of my latest vlogs, the international wellness coach, Mr. Mike Chang. Hello.
Thank you, brother.
It's really good to have you here.
Yeah.
So, funnily enough, I've got video footage of literally the first moment I ever laid eyes on you. So, you were at the Bali Glamping Day Festival, and I'm walking in and I'm recording with my Meta glasses.
That's right.
Yeah. And then you were doing some session. You said, hey, come over here. I had no idea who the hell you were. And then I woke up and then all of a sudden you've got me doing this, was it like 60-second squats, looking into each other's eyes without being able to blink.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I learned quite a lot about you. So the way you come across to me, and this is like why you're here, is, all right, I saw, here's a guy who has a lot of warm energy, seems to be very focused on bettering himself and helping others to do the same thing. They say about toxic masculinity, right? Toxic. Well, the masculinity you embody could only be described as untoxic masculinity. Very positive masculinity, right? The polar opposite of toxic.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yet masculine. And yeah, we met and then we had a connection. We ended up swapping details. And I thought it'd be absolutely great to get you here. Because, again, you're a father. And that's something that I intend to be at some point in the future. I'd really love to have a chat about where you're at right now, but leading up to it as well, like where you started, where it all began, and what the journey has been like for you.
Oh, let's dive into it.
Yeah, let's go. So, who the heck is Mr. Mike Chang?
Well,
talk to me. Oh, and finally, one last thing as well. So, before we get going, Mike has a very powerful way of speaking, and he said that's because he speaks from his stomach, from his guts. So, we agreed that for this conversation, I am going to speak from my gut. If I forget, I'll forget, but when I remember, I will go back to talking from my gut.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to hear some of your other episodes to see the change.
I mean, well, this is my normal voice.
Yeah.
This is me normally. So when I speak from my gut, it sounds more like that.
And you can feel it.
Yeah, I can. It takes effort, though. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. Who are you?
So, I would say a lot of people remember me, the YouTube community. A lot of people remember me from my previous venture. I started a fitness company called Six Pack Shortcuts back in 2010. And it was focused on helping young men build a nice physique, build muscle, burn fat, for the sake of attracting the right partner, attracting women, feeling confident, and being able to go after what they want. And that did really well. And for about 5-6 years, we were on top in YouTube and fitness.
The name rings a bell. I've definitely seen your videos.
Yeah, I mean, we were the most subscribed channel on fitness on the entire YouTube platform. And we helped a lot of guys get in good shape. And I had a lot more muscle then. I don't really focus so much on that now, but it was great. So a lot of people remember me then. And then there's another entirely different audience that knows that don't really know that old version of me, and they see me as this as like a teacher that helps them with inner peace, helps them with mobility and deeper connection to themselves. And that's because from 2015, 16 or so, I left the internet, left social media for almost about 6 years and just kind of disappeared. So there's a lot of videos of where did I disappear to? And then when I came back, I didn't talk about muscle building. I didn't talk about, attracting women or anything. I talked about inner peace. I talked about expanding consciousness. I talked about um, deeper connection within ourselves, releasing fear, and and I also learned how to speak from my stomach. more so, a lot more so now. And but because this channel is about dating, about relationships, which, to be
We
honest,
can touch on those topics, though. We totally can.
well, this is the first time I've ever really spoke to somebody that really focused on helping men with relationships. It's I've talked on many different types of podcasts but never really directly on this topic. So it's kind of cool, because I have a lot of things I can share. I mean, to start off with, I'm a relationship type of man. I'm not the ones that date around and are juggling multiple women. I dated once in my life. After the age of 14, I dated once in my life.
Once.
Once for a 3-month error. And then I said, yeah, it's too much damn work. I can't focus on what I'm forgetting the conversations. What did I tell her? Did I tell her or did I tell her? I'm not really sure. And I'm have to maintain all these conversations. I said, that's too much energy. Forget that. And then I stopped. I said, I'm gonna find me a woman again. Find me a good woman and that's it, and be happy. And so I did that from, I think I was 20, I want to say 23, maybe around 23 or so, for 3 months, because I started to date when I was 14. Well, maybe a little younger, but 14 for the next 9 years till about 22ish is one relationship, 9 years. And I was just telling you before we started that I was giving relationship advice at 16, and it was just because around my friends I was the one with the longest experience in relationships, because I had a 2-year relationship at the moment, and most guys at the age of 16 weren't really dating women for that long. And I always had this desire to want to find the one, live happily ever after, have kids and just have this really loving, passionate. It's like this, almost like this story tale type of fairy tale, type of relationship. You're so in love and everything's wonderful. You're so attracted to her and she loves you so much and everybody's just happy. And the funny thing is, as much as I try to find that relationship, I would always fail. And I say that because I really try. Like I mentioned, I don't date around. I try to really find somebody I can spend my life with. But somehow it always messes up. And I remember one day, man, I think I was 20. No, I was older than that. I was 30, almost about 32, maybe even 32 already. One day, I had this realization that maybe it's not them and maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one that's kind of messing it all up. And it came from this random situation. I remember I'm sitting in the car and we're in front of Subway, this sandwich shop. And my girlfriend at the time mentions, hey, there's a boy with a bag of Cheetos, you know. And then I don't remember what I said. I just realized that about 20 seconds from what she said, when she said that, suddenly we're arguing. And I remember stopping for a moment and going, what just happened? It's almost like I kind of just blanked out and I just kind of reacted. And before I know it, I'm arguing with her. And I go, wow, that's,
She just said the boy's got a bag of Cheetos.
yeah, like, hey, look at that boy with a bag of Cheetos. And and then I somehow turned that into something that turned into an argument. And I remember at that moment realizing, wow, I think it's me starting all this drama. It's not actually her. Up until then, I like many people are thinking, well, I got my issues, but she does too, and she needs to change this, and I need to change this, and the reason why we have these issues because she never, just all this stuff about other people, and I realized that moment that I actually think most of the drama was created by me. And that was like the first time it really became clear. And I was 32 years old. I had a lot of long relationships, like 9 years, 3 years, 5 years.
That must have been quite humbling then
Yeah,
to realize.
yeah.
Because you told yourself a story that it's her fault, but then you realize it was actually you. Was there anything else that you realized as well? So I guess what I'm asking is, in that moment, what did you realize? So you realized that you started that argument, fine. But in a broader perspective, what were the main things about Mike Chang that you learned in that period?
Well, I was thinking there's a chance that I might have started many arguments and not just that one. I came to that realization. I didn't know how, but it's like this epiphany, like, oh crap, maybe it's been me the whole time. you know? Not just in this relationship, maybe in the others. It's just like, holy crap, it's just it
Yeah.
was very, very humbling, but just very surprising because, somebody will, they'll say, it's you, and then, you kind of argue back, and sometimes you will take the blame for some, but I don't think many people will think it's me that's creating almost all of it. Like, and therefore, if that's the case, I can actually change all of it. Like, I don't think a lot of people think that. I think a lot of people think of it as I'm not perfect, but she isn't either. And we all kind of have our things, and that's why it's like this. When in reality, if we make certain changes, it doesn't even matter how they are. We actually will end up getting along perfectly. But it took me a while to really understand that. So,
So you have an argument with your girlfriend, which sounds to me like she mentioned the guy with the Cheetos, and your brain interpreted that as that man is sexy. He might even be sexier than you, something like this, some sort of challenge, like insecurity. That's what I'm assuming. Stop me if I'm wrong. But anyway, cool. So you make that assumption, start the argument. Then you're like, oh my God, it was me. However, so now we've realized that we were the architect of the whole negative situation and that you've been doing it for years. But now you've actually got to resolve the situation. So what was that like? And how exactly did you go about doing that? Because it's easier said than done. It's one thing to say, oh yeah, I have a tendency to start arguments and I'm not perfect. But then it's another to actually heal it. What was that transition like?
well, if we go with that situation you just said, right? Let's say somebody's girlfriend, looks at another man, and maybe she's thinking he's sexy, right? And then the boyfriend gets jealous, gets upset while you're checking him out, or something like that.
The crazy thing is, if she's mentioning Cheetos, I doubt she was impressed with him in any way. You know what I mean? Like, Cheetos aren't the kind of thing that you would reference about a man who you thought, oh yeah, look at that man. Like, for instance, what I'm getting at is something that I hear people say a lot is like losers who sit in their mother's basement eating Cheetos. It's not associated with like masculinity and sex appeal and things like that. So the odds are, not only was it like an overreaction, but she probably didn't even think that highly of him anyway. If you see what I mean. But anyway, I'm digressing and I've cut into what you're saying.
Well, I think it kind of starts off with, if you we always end up finding women that are a perfect match to how we are. So if I'm afraid that my woman's going to be unfaithful to me, then that fear that I have, it's gonna manifest. But manifest is very general. Let's see if we can make it more practical, and kind of understand some of the specific moving parts to see how can a person who's in their mind going, I really don't want to find a woman that's going to be unfaithful to me because I've been hurt before and that really sucks. Why can't I just find a nice, faithful woman who just loves me? And so they're really afraid of that. And somehow they keep finding these women that just can't, seem to just, stay with them. They're just kind of always, keeping their eyes around, options open. So why is that, right? So a person may not understand that they're the ones creating these relationships. And anytime when they find a woman that's not like that, they are not interested. And that they seem to only be interested in women that, let's say, would cheat on them or would create enough, would flirt enough to where there would be this issue. But it's hard for a person to understand how they are unconsciously actually finding these type of
So
relationships.
at that point of your life, you were only drawn to women who would flirt to make you feel uncomfortable and insecure about yourself.
I actually wasn't drawn to those.
But that's
I
why you
wasn't.
had those. Or did she?
Well, I mean, no, no. I was drawn I was drawn to women that were a lot of times kind of insecure about themselves.
Because it
Not
gave
very
you something
confident.
to fix.
Yeah, like not very confident. Yeah, so this way my portray of confidence before kind of helped them feel more safe, even though it was me trying to portray it, and inside I was insecure as well.
I've
So
done
it's
the
like
same
under the
thing.
surface, both people are insecure. Both people have fears. But on the outside, I seem to be very confident, and on the outside, they're not as confident. So it kind of fits together, right? It's like, oh, well, I'm not that confident. Luckily, you are. So let's come together. You got my back there. You can fill that gap for me, and so it kind of fits in that way. But then the arguments would be usually I'm trying to get them to do something that I would do for myself. I believe is good for me. Go out and go after it, right? But they're not the type of person that would want to. So then I'm trying to get them to change. I'm trying to tell them this is good for you. You need to do these things. And now they're trying to do it to satisfy me, but they're not really into these things. So then now we got these issues. I'm thinking this is why, this relationship is not good because this person isn't, keeping up with me. They're not doing the things that are needed in order for us to be this strong couple. There's all of this type of stories before, and none of those things were even necessary. It was just me trying to tell people to do the things that I really needed to do for myself and just not letting them be themselves.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that if they were doing the things that you were telling them to do, that would have eventually weirded you out anyway, because the dynamic that you wanted was one where you were the teacher on high who could impart this knowledge and they were the student. I've had the same scenario. I can think of a couple of exes, right, who, hand on my heart, at the time, I liked the fact that they were like, they needed me and they needed my guidance. They needed my wisdom. And I would teach them this about life and that. And yeah, you should do this and you should do that in this scenario. And if they weren't listening, it's like, oh my God, this woman, she's not listening. And I'm giving all of this great information. But I really liked being in that position. Then I had a girlfriend, right, who listened to everything I said, right? She listened and she took it on board and she made fantastic evolutions in her life as a result. Now, today I couldn't be any happier for this woman. I couldn't be. But if I'm going to be honest with you, there was a little sting as I saw, right? A little sting because it highlighted the fact that I wasn't living up to all the stuff I was teaching. So, like, I'm giving her this info and she's using it and going like this in her life. And then here I am like that while she's going, you know what I mean? Made me feel like a bit of a loser. But it was good though, because then I had to take a look in the mirror and like, all right, I've got to get my crap together.
And there are times where she's telling you the same things you're telling her, and you're thinking, I was telling you this 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're like, I don't, this isn't kind of what it's about. And usually I'm telling you this and you're receiving it, and suddenly, I'm feeling like I'm the student and you're the teacher now, and it feels uncomfortable. It's like we feel like this is not this is not the dynamic that that I signed up for, that I'm used to. Then so we try to get into that position, but then they're not needing it, right? Because they took what you said, they applied it, they grew, and suddenly there's like this. It becomes like this, um, almost like this masculine type of energy, and it's so interesting, isn't it?
But tell me though, so you've realized that you're the problem.
Yeah.
All right. How did you unbecome the problem? And how long did that take? Because it sounds like a lot of work. It couldn't have been easy. So were there countless times when you caught yourself in the middle of trying to start an argument, for instance? You're like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, and you're having to bite your tongue. And every fiber of your being wants to lash out at her for X, Y, and Z, but you're consciously reminding yourself of the fact that that's probably not what's going on. Or she's reminded you after the fact that you were wrong for starting the argument and you realize, oh my God, I was. And what was that like?
So so that relationship, with that woman, uh, ended shortly after. I don't know, maybe 4 months, 6 months. I would say less than a year. And I didn't really learn what I needed to learn. That's when I just started to realize I think it's me. But from there, I didn't really learn the things until my next relationship. So my next relationship, I was with this woman for 3.5 years, and the way that I learned was, instead of going with a woman that I usually would select, there's certain type, they're into this, into that, not into those. It's we kind of seem to date the similar women in our life. They may look a little different, but there's still always some similar things that we're interested in. And if we look at all of our girlfriends and partners, it's not like they're just entirely different from each other. There's always similarities. This one was very different. And it was very different because instead of looking for my normal type of person, this one just kind of fell into my world, and there was this opportunity. She was interested in starting this relationship, and I remember just thinking, I'm not I'm not interested in her. Like, this isn't my type. But then I had this realization. Well, but I keep messing up all the other relationships. So what's the chance that maybe I don't even know what my type is? Maybe that's the reason why it's not working out, because every time when I'm choosing my type, I seem to just mess it up all the time. And maybe I should just listen to God, you know, bring this one about for me. So I said, you know what? Let's just go for it. Who cares? What do I know? I got to change something, because that saying, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So then, so here I go. I'm in this relationship, and now we're talking about how did I change? This relationship, was she was a great person, really, really loving, but the things that she was really, really natural at and just fearless in was all of my fears. And every time when she invite me to do things and want to do things this way and this way, it's exactly the way I don't want to do it. Not interested. Would never do it that way. It's not my style. It just everything about it just repulses me. It just cringes me up.
Sounds like she was a gift from the universe.
Yes,
That's what I'm hearing.
yeah, a very big gift. One of the biggest teachers I've ever had. And at the time, I was actively trying to let go of fear, let go of my insecurities, let go of this anxiety. So then I just forced myself to say yes and just forced myself to show up. And it just kicked my ass every single day. I realized the amount of insecurities, the amount of anger, frustration, and just because the things that she would do, it's not out of it's not out of like she's trying to hurt me. It's just a very natural thing. Like, for example, she's really interested in going out and connecting with people. During that time in my life, I wanted to stay in and not see anybody.
And also, you were quite nervous about her speaking to other men as well. As with the previous woman, you just mentioned the man with Cheetos and that set you off.
Yeah,
So she
well,
wants to go out and connect with people. What sort of men would she be connecting with?
well, the my previous relationships, most of the women were not. They were not cheaters. That was just an example of based on what we were talking about earlier. But it's because I found women that weren't, out connecting with so many guys. So it was never a problem. Like, for example, that subject. She connected with lots of guys. Lots of them. Quick. Like, she can work a room faster than I've ever seen anybody before. She'll walk into a room, 40 minutes later, she's got a handful of numbers, invitations, and all this stuff going on, and all kinds of dudes, and
So I just had an idea. So you said, by the way, as you're speaking, my brain is like analyzing. I'm trying to put together like a Mike Chang profile, right? So here's something you said at the start, that you met these women and you had this performative confidence where you were like, yeah, I'm Mr. Cool Mike Chang and six-pack shortcut and whatever, and I'm going to show you the way. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're so alpha, you're so masculine. But then you meet a woman, he's like, I'm naturally exuding what you're claiming to have, essentially. So then that's
much
like,
better than me.
yeah, naturally. Yeah. She's not trying. Right?
Yeah, naturally
trying.
better than me by far.
And then it's thrusting it in your face. Like, oh crap, I'm not the guy that I was claiming to be. I've had that situation too. I've had that exact same situation and it wasn't comfortable. But anyway, carry on. I'm just saying, like, that's just come to mind. So I can just imagine that was not easy for you at all, because you clearly think about yourself. Like, you analyze yourself and you think deeply, clearly. And you're like, oh crap, I am not as big, bold, strong and confident as I thought I was. She actually is. And you see, here's the issue, Mike. You see, if you're a guy like me, and I assume a guy like you as well, but it's difficult. Well, you can't really like lash out at people because you understand too much. So like, I had an argument with a woman this week, right? And in the argument, well, disagreement, but I basically said, all right, I caught myself. I was like, I'm triggered, and I'm triggered because of this and this and this and this and this. And it's not actually down to you. Like, you've said some stuff that's annoyed me, but fundamentally the meat of this is me. So I'm not going to let it affect how I treat you. And like, it's good for her that I did that, and it's good for like my conscience that I did that. But obviously there's a part of me that would like to just let go and go, if you see what I mean. Right? Well, you can't do that if you know too much about stuff. So I'm just basically giving some empathy, because I can feel like, ooh, you're with this woman, this confident woman who knows how to work a room. She knows how to work a room. And she gets so many people handing out phone numbers and stuff. And you know that a decent percentage of those men want to sleep with her. Like, they do. That's a percentage. She sounds very beautiful. Maybe she wasn't, but I'm imagining a beautiful woman.
She was attractive.
Yeah.
She was attractive.
Yeah.
But that wasn't. There's some women that are very attractive, and men are just like drawn to them because that's like their strength. She was attractive, but that wasn't what drawn people in. It was her energy.
This is my point.
It was her energy.
This is my point.
It's one thing, when attractive women are so attractive, they don't have to do much, and then it's just everybody flocks to them. But then there are women that they're attractive, but they're not like super dead gorgeous, hot, like not like that. But they're attractive, yes, but they have an energy about them where they see you and they see the best in you, and they're not afraid. They have no censor. They just speak out. Oh my God, that would be like, if she was here, you know what she would say? She would go and compliment you first on your shirt, and she'll compliment you on your tats. Where did you get that? And I love your style, and I love this. And you're just like, wow, this person's a fan of me. So naturally, she's going to just bring out, before you know it, she's going to get you talking. You don't even remember. You're just there talking. You're having the best conversation. And she's listening. She's not just random. She hears what you're saying, giving it back. 5 minutes later, you've been speaking to her, like everything's just flowing so nice. And you know that she sees you in a very valuable, interesting way. She's interested in you.
But isn't this worse then? Because
So, but that's naturally how she is. He's not even trying. She's just naturally like that with every single person. So you can imagine how you're like, and then when she asks, like, hey, well, she won't even ask. You're just thinking, this person's really cool. You know what? Hey, I got this thing going on. Would you want to come? And you know what she's going to say? Some people go, well, that sounds great. Yeah, let me check my schedule. She wouldn't even, yes. Oh my God, I would love to. And I know who would be great for that as well. This person, that person, you don't? Come here, let me introduce you. So you're thinking this person, this is like a person I want to meet. This is a person I want to connect to because she seems to know everybody because she does.
So my question is,
great.
my question is, because this woman sounds incredible, but I can totally see the intimidation, the trepidation, the fear that this would engender. So how did you overcome that, or did you?
I overcame it.
Okay.
But the way I did it,
because that would have taken
like
strength.
this.
So like props. Because
So
I can visualize, right? I can visualize.
Yeah. I mean, there are other things that happened that really brought up a lot of fear for me. But how do we let go of this fear? So the way to do it is when the fear comes up, we tense up in our body. We tighten up, jaw, clench, toes, stomach. The body tenses up. What I've learned is that when our body tenses up, that emotion doesn't go away. It stays there. It stays there and it starts to build up like a pressure cooker. Shh. We got to let it out. To let out that emotion physically, we have to relax. We have to literally soften up the body. So, especially for guys like you and me that exercise, we're tense often because we're sore, our bodies are a little tight, right? The more muscle you have, generally, the more tighter you are. So to let go of tension is usually not what people are focused on. They're kind of focused on always looking tight and fit. So when they're talking about softening up, especially the stomach, which is not something that people want to soften up to. They kind of want to do the opposite. But yet, if they stay tight, that emotion ain't going anywhere. No matter what the emotion is, stress, anxiety, fear, worry, whatever it is, it's not going anywhere. And now our mind is going to see the situation with that same emotional lens. So now the stories that we're thinking about, because we can think about any story. We can look at any situation and see it in any perspective. We can focus on anything we want. But what a person will focus on when they're in this emotional state is through that lens. So whatever story they come up with has a lens of stress or a lens of fear or a lens of insecurity. And then when they think about that, well, their body's going to respond with more of it. And now you got this loop that they're in. And everything is going to be expressed from it. What they say, the decisions, how their body language is, everything. And so the first thing that a person needs to do is learn how to relax. And here's what somebody can do. The thing that I practice on every single day for almost a decade now, relaxing the hands and relaxing the feet. Hands and feet. And it's not because we carry the most amount of tension here. It's because hands and feet is the simplest areas for a person to control. You tell somebody to relax their neck. A lot of people can't relax their neck. You tell somebody to relax their stomach. I know for me, it took me a year and a half to learn how to relax my stomach because I always kept it tight. I was able to keep it tight without even thinking about it and just kept it tight. So you tell me to relax it. Yeah, right? A year and a half of actively trying to let my gut out. A year and a half. So, but hands and feet is something that people have full control over. And they may unconsciously tense it up. But if they relax their hands and feet, this is going to trigger their entire body to start to soften up. And then from there, they can relax other areas of the body that they have control in. So that's the primary thing. And when a person relaxes, what happens is whatever emotion that they're experiencing at the moment, they start to feel it more. And they need to know that because if they're thinking, I'm going to relax and I'm going to feel better, nuh-uh. You're going to relax. And then if you were feeling worry, you're going to feel more worried. If you're feeling insecure, you're going to feel more insecure. If your stomach is twisting a little.
Suppressing the emotion.
The
And because you're no longer
tightness,
suppressing it, that allows it to.
Yeah, the tightness is not allowing a person to fully feel it. So then when they relax, they can fully feel it, which means the emotion becomes more intense. But that's how they let it go. They can't let it go by tensing up and trying to stuff it deeper. It doesn't go anywhere. They can only let it go by relaxing and allowing it to come to the surface. But every time when it comes closer to the surface, a person is experiencing it more.
So you were with this woman, and you were constantly in situations where you're either with her and you're with people and she's doing stuff that's triggering you, or you're on the phone with her and she's talking about things that are triggering you, or you're with her in person and she's
Or we're
triggering you.
dancing around and she's wearing all this stuff and I have like, fairy wings and a tutu and I'm dancing around looking all kinds of crazy.
Yeah,
And
and constantly,
constantly
constantly.
triggering me.
But
Yeah.
then while you're
Yeah.
constantly being triggered, you're constantly thinking, okay, relax my hands, relax my feet, relax, feel the emotion.
Yeah.
Effectively moving forward, moving through the emotion rather than away from it.
Yep.
So that sounds brilliant. I'll totally give that a shot. So something that I found works with me when I feel fear is to move towards the fear. So
Mm-hmm.
I am a recovering avoidant. They speak about attachment styles, right? Mine is being avoidant. So what would happen is I get to know someone and then I love them and it reaches a critical mass, then the avoidance kicks in and the avoidance would stop me from doing things that I wanted to do and that they would love and would, you know, be like a symbol of like that would just strengthen the bond. It could be anything like buying a gift or it could be giving a hug. It could be literally anything. Anything that I really wanted to do, the avoidant nature would make me pull back like so. So what helped for me, like massively, is to do the thing that I wanted to do, but the avoidant nature was trying to get me to stop doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in bed. It could be as simple as we're in bed and I'm on the other side. Now, deep down in the recesses of my subconscious, I actually want to come in close and give the hug. But
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, my subconscious mind is like, oh, no, it's dangerous if you do that. So I would push myself to do that anyway and then help my nervous system to see, okay, you're going to be okay, if you see what I mean. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's worked for me.
When we're doing that, whether it's in that situation of coming over and hugging or cuddling,
Mm.
or if in anything else, it's great to move forward in that fear in that way and take the action. But there's something that many people don't do, which is when we're doing that action, soften up the body, stay relaxed, tense only what is needed. Certain things you're gonna have to tense up, so it's fine. But tense only what is needed. Stay as relaxed as possible. Here's why: if you're gonna move towards the fearful thing,
Mm.
don't expect to feel good as you're doing it. Expect to feel fear, worry, whatever emotion. I mean, it's gonna get triggered, because if it doesn't get triggered, you weren't really afraid of that thing. If you're afraid of that thing as you're doing that thing, it's gonna come, and when it comes, if our body stays tense, we're not allowing it to leave. It's trying to come out and get and be felt and help us be aware of what's happening, but we're tensing up, pushing it back down. But if we do the thing and stay relaxed, tense only what is needed, because again, certain things you gotta tense up, but tense only what is needed and stay as relaxed as possible. Then we allow that emotion to be fully felt while we are doing the thing that we are afraid of. Whatever that thing is. It could be with this woman, it could be in an in-person conversation, any action in life. When we pursue that fear, do it in a relaxed state, the relaxed that you can be.
So there's a book I discovered at the start of the year called Existential Kink. Have you heard of it? All
No.
right. Great book. Written by a woman. I've mentioned it on this podcast before, but it's written by this woman who was, I think her name's Gwendolyn something or another. She was a struggling something in New York. Struggling something. I don't know what, but it was something. And she didn't have no money. She doesn't have 2 pennies, 2 cents to rub together. She's in all these toxic relationships, WTF, right? Then one day she's waiting to get like food stamps or something. And then she has this epiphany that just smacks her right in the face, which is, oh my gosh, part of me actually enjoys this. I enjoy this misery, this situation that I'm in. I'm getting something from it. So she creates this shadow work protocol where she sits with the issue at hand. So like something that's consistently happening that she doesn't like, she sits with it. Then what she realized was the thing that she was sitting with, she didn't just like enjoy, but like she actually got like a real, like she got a kick out of it as well. And this is why it's called existential kink, because you know, like the kink community, you might get like a woman who likes to be whipped or a man that wants to be abused or something. So it's a painful slash degrading thing, but they're getting something from it and they actively want it. So like on some level, it's like, yeah, abuse me. Oh yeah, abuse me. She realized that she was basically doing that. So she's like, oh my God, I'm so poor. Yeah. So, oh yeah, this, my boyfriend doesn't respect me. He treats me terribly. Oh, but actually that. So sitting with the thing and just really accepting it. And then it's like, ooh. And then she found herself like being turned on by, it's not sexual. She's literally thinking about her money, right? But she's feeling arousal flow through her body, and she's like having, she's not like orgasming, but she's having like ecstatic states as a result. The book's called Existential Kink. And yeah, it's a great book. Great. Because I started doing that at the start of the year, right? Now, I was never.
What's the purpose of that, by the way?
Oh, to work through the issue. So the basic point is.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have made that clear.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The point is, so she has no money, right? Cool. So her conscious mind doesn't like not having money, but her soul slash subconscious quite enjoys the sensation, right? Now, here's the thing. Consciously, she's like, I hate not having money. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But she's not actually being honest with herself with the fact that she does love it. So by actually admitting and like feeling the pleasure, it's like she gets to have that experience and move on. So it's not even necessarily like from cradle to the grave, she wants to be abused or doesn't want to have money. It's an experience that her subconscious or soul or both was enjoying at that point. But then once you just like own it, then it will just flow through. So what happened to her was, yeah, she started like sexually being aroused by being poor. But after a couple of months of just doing the meditations, her situation completely turned around because she no longer got any charge from it. She no longer enjoyed it on any level. She'd had the thrill, she'd had the enjoyment. She attracted a husband, and I don't know if she's still with the guy. I presume she is. Things like that. But I did it. Started this year. Now, I wasn't erotically triggered or aroused or whatnot, but I found myself just laughing, and it was crazy. I would think about stuff, and I'm in fits of laughter, uncontrollable fits of laughter, and it's stuff that consciously annoyed me. Actually, there's a part of me that's thought it was fucking hilarious. Genuinely hilarious. It's like, so there's a part of me that's doing this just for fun. And yeah.
So I can see how if she's fully feeling the situation and feeling in her body and really sitting with it, and the act of like fully feeling her body, and she's probably like tightening up the perineum and kind of going in, and so that in itself, you take a couple deep breaths and you're activating your sexual energy. So it's accepting what's happening, accepting the scenario, accepting the situation. But the way that we accept it is not just mentally. The way we accept it is by being very, very present, so that there's no other stories about anything else, and just being present with this is what is. And the best way to be present is to be connecting to the body. And so she connected to the body in a deep way, so deep that it felt damn good.
Yeah.
And so that's great, because we can't accept something. Someone says, I accept what's going on. No, it doesn't matter what you say. It only matters that a person is entirely present. Because anybody can say what they want. But when we're entirely present with something, an idea in this situation, with a person, when we're present, that's how we can fully accept that person.
I've had an epiphany.
Go
The
ahead.
epiphany I've just had is everything is actually nice if you're completely present with it. Like
Yeah.
everything that happens to you.
Yeah.
I've had situations where I've been in huge amounts of physical pain.
Yeah.
Huge. Like a sickness, which I've spoken about a bunch of times on this podcast, but I was really sick. And I just focused on the sensation of the sickness because I couldn't run away from it.
Yeah.
And then after about 8 hours, I started to enjoy feeling sick. Genuinely. The feeling of being sick was genuinely pleasant. And then lo and behold, Mike, I got over it very quickly as well. Once I actually enjoyed the sickness, which is kind of on this woman's existential kink thing. But it's like, you're doing something you don't like. Me, you, anyone, the man watching in Timbuktu or Jakarta or Jamaica or whatever. And the reason why you don't like it is because you're telling the story like, oh my God, I gotta do this thing. Oh my God, oh. Which I am really guilty of, by the way. That's like me. If I'm doing something I don't want, this in here just starts working overtime. Speaking like a billion stories about how horrible it is and why it needs to end. But that is actually the cause of the misery. That's it. Whereas when you're like present, there's no story. And then when there's no story, there's no pain.
Well, the attention, you talked about how you were feeling the body and feeling the sickness and feeling that discomfort. If we think about feeling, we're taking our attention and placing it into the body, right? You're placing your attention, your awareness into your body that was sick at that time. Your attention is energy, right? Like right now, if you and I look at each other, like how we met, we looked at each other, right? Like that, we're giving each other energy. If I look this direction, instantly you can still hear me, but instantly you feel different than if I turn right here, right? So whatever we are aware of, we bring energy to it. So then if we are aware of the body, we give the body a lot of energy. And so when we are present with the body, when we say present with the body, that means we're feeling the body, because the way we connect to the body, how do we know if we're connected? We're feeling it. How do we know when we're not connected to the body? Can you feel your body? Can you feel the sensation? Right? There's subtle sensations in the body. When we feel the body more and more, we are connected to the body more and more. And that means we're giving more and more energy to the body. And so when we give energy to the body heals. And vice versa, if we don't give energy to the body, because our attention is somewhere else, not in the body. Where's our attention? Somewhere else, thinking, talking, doing something other than giving energy to the body. So then now a person goes, well, I thought energy is coming from food, coming from breath,
That's what I've been told.
right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, so attention, food, breath, all of these things are not separate. They're all operating simultaneously with each other. So what that means is if you don't, breath and attention are not very different from each other. If you stop breathing, you're not going to have any attention. For anybody who doesn't believe it, stop breathing. See what happens to your attention. You stop breathing long enough, you lose attention. It's called you go unconscious, right? Unconscious without attention. So breath and attention are very, very similar. They are one of the same. They support one another. You breathe, you have more attention, more awareness. So then when we breathe in, constantly breathe in, we bring a lot of energy, a lot of attention, which is why anytime a person wants to connect more, all they do is start breathing. And automatically, they bring attention to the body and they bring oxygen to the body. So it depends on who you talk to, right? You talk to somebody who's all about energy. They're like, oh, you bring in a lot of energy. You talk to somebody who's all about anatomy. They talk about, oh, you're oxygenating the cells. And they're all right. They're all correct. It's just different ways of looking at the same thing. But the point is, though, when we bring attention to the body, we give energy to the body. We become conscious of it. And when we become conscious of the body, we're giving the body the highest level of energy, which is much more than food. Because breath, you can go much longer on breath than you can with food. Stop eating and you'll survive just fine, right? For a good while. Stop breathing and you're out. So breathing has a lot more energy than food by far. So the reason why people are carrying all this emotion, which is also why people are sick. See, when you were sick, you didn't even tell me this, and I already know. You had a lot of emotions. You were emotional like crazy. You were dealing with all kinds of stuff. You are not a peaceful person that was sitting there sick. Nope.
Hell no.
Never happens.
Hell no.
Nope. Never happens. You know, it's like a person who's like 400 pounds and you already know they can't put down the fork. Right.
They talk about Dark Night of the Soul, right? I don't know if I've ever had one, but that was the closest I've ever come.
So,
Okay.
so there's no sick, peaceful person. So then when a person's emotional in their body, when they're emotional, they're not connected to the body, because if they were, they would feel the emotion, and the act of feeling the emotions release those emotions. So then when those emotions are released, because they're fully feeling the body, bring attention to the body, bring energy to the body, simultaneously the body starts to heal. You see, it's all happening. It's just like, which way do we want to look at it? It's like one action and all of these reactions are happening. And it took me years to kind of understand all the ripple effects. And then everything started to make sense. Because sometimes we look at everything separate. But when we realize that you do this and it creates this massive ripple effect, and then you do this and it creates this massive ripple effect, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. It doesn't matter. Like, these ripples, they all are happening simultaneously. So it doesn't matter. There's like 6 ripples, for example. It doesn't matter if you do number 2, number 3, number 5. You do number 5, everything else will ripple. You do number 1, everything else will ripple. It just doesn't matter which way you go about it. You can think positive thoughts, and it'll create a ripple. But there's a lot to dive into on positive thoughts. I don't know if we want to dive into that yet.
I don't think we've got the time, to be honest. Yeah, so here's what it sounds like you're saying, Mr. Mike Chang, that human attention, like human consciousness, focused on a single point, is like one of the most powerful things in the universe. It sounds like that's what you're saying, because you're saying that through consciousness, through attention, you can heal yourself. And what I find to be fascinating about that, if I want to get mildly conspiratorial, is that we live in a world which seems hell-bent on taking your attention and putting it elsewhere. Hell-bent. Phone this, social media that, alcohol this, porn that, video game this, Netflix that. There seems to be a lot going on that's trying to take Kieran Brown and Mike Chang's consciousness away from themselves and onto something else. So then it's like, I don't know, if what you're saying is true, and I strongly suspect that it is, 99.9 recurring % sure that you're onto something, then that's probably not a coincidence. There might be something deliberate at play. Feel free to not want to butt in on that if you want, but that's just a thought that's coming to mind.
And I want to tie in a full circle to how that helps people have better relationship, better sex.
That's it. Yeah, because something I found, right? And so when I say to guys all the time is that, guys say like, oh, what do I need to do to be better in bed? And the main thing I always say is being completely present, which is basically what we're saying, which is that there's nobody else. There's just you and there's her. No one else exists. And then you just go with where that takes you.
Fully, yes. And on top of that, fully present, right? Fully present with the moment. Fully feeling their body. Feeling all parts of their body. Breathing. And being present with that woman. And, if they can't hold it, they're at the edge. Okay, chill out. Don't try to act like you're not there. Chill out, prolong it. But not being in their head thinking, I need to have her see me in this way. I need to see her in that way. None of that. Just fully breathe. It's like you're like an animal. It's like you're an animal and you're just in the moment. You're in the moment. You're feeling her body fully. And at that point, the best love making, the best sexual acts is not because you're pounding for 40 minutes and haven't came yet. The best ones is where you're so present, you're so connected, and she feels your presence, and she's so connected to you and present with you because you're present with her. And then from there, you're not holding back there's no guesswork of what I should do or not do. You're constantly doing exactly what you want while at the same time seeing what's happening, because you may go, I'm going to do this, and then she's going to move, and she's going to move away or move into it, and you're going to see what's happening, and you're constantly responding. So it becomes this dance where nobody's really leading the way. Nobody's the dominant one. If you can tell if they want you dominant because you do it, they go for it. But the moment when they change it up, go with the flow, and your bodies are moving, and those are the best love making. Those are the best sessions, because there's no rules of I am this way, I play this, and you play that. There's no rules. There's no. You can talk if you want or no talking. It doesn't even matter. But it's like this dance that's so present, so you're paying attention all the time to how it evolves. That's the best experiences. And because of that, even if you have, my wife and I, we call it edging, right? Which is basically being about to ejaculate, but you don't.
I don't think that's a phrase you guys created. I've seen that phrase a lot.
Yeah, right? So,
yeah.
But the best ones is like,
But like,
just being present and flowing with it. Because, when I was younger, I was thinking the best type of intimacy is where, I'm not going to come and I'm just going to go at it for, 30 minutes, and that's so great. And they were just screaming, sometimes it'll happen like that, but it's so mechanical. It's like, sometimes that's fine, but the presence have to be there, even if that happens, and there's a lot more to say about that, but that happens. That's connected to our conversation of being able to feel the body, being very present. It increases your ability for love making. Now that connection with your partner is really, really strong, and that will carry over. Partners, relationships usually fail when the sex goes away. And the people that are having sex and having bad relationships is because they don't connect during sex. It's like when they go to sex, it's like, I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to pound the shit out of you. And it's like after that, it's like they just go unconscious. Those relationships still won't last. But if a relationship has conscious sex where you're actually present with this person, then afterwards, that connection's still there. Now, whatever indifferences that you have, you can actually talk it out. And as you know, in relationships, communication is key. But people aren't talking, and when they're making love, having sex, they're not present. So it doesn't matter how often you're having sex. That relationship ain't gonna last. But if you do it right, you're present during sex, and then afterwards, that presence carries over into communication. And then you have those two things, communication and good present intimacy. All things get figured out, and it's much more enjoyable.
it certainly is, and it's a scary thing to do for a lot of men, like me, definitely back in the day. But the rewards are endless, and I guess that's a good place to end it, because he said we had about 5 minutes left 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you though. But here's the thing, right? We have to do this again, because number one, we just spoke about conscious lovemaking. That's definitely something to dive into.
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
That's definitely something.
Yeah.
That's number one. But then also two, we haven't spoken about your wife, fatherhood, any of that stuff as well. So we most certainly do need to do this again. But yeah, thank you. So to the man who is watching, or the woman who's like, good God, Mr. Mike Chang, like, I'm such a fan. Like, I'm picking up whatever he's putting down. I need to find out more about this guy. Where would they go in order to do that?
So they can check out my social media, Mike Chang Official on Instagram, Mike Chang Training on YouTube. They want to connect with me and not dive deep into all because I have a lot of different programs, 60-day, 90-day programs, certification into the movement meditation that I teach. But if they want to connect with me to learn more, and they're interested in training to connect deeper with themselves and release this stuff, I just started a community, a community online, and
school,
they can,
right?
the one on school. So It's that will be the easiest way. They have access to all the programs, digital courses, all that stuff, and I do lives on there, so they can communicate with me directly. That would probably be the best way to start.
All right, lovely. And to the person who's watching, if you've enjoyed this podcast, for the love of God, please like, comment, and subscribe. Why? Because number one, it makes me feel better about myself, in all honesty. And also, number two, when you engage, you're basically telling YouTube this was a good piece of content. I want to see more, and I'd like you to kick it out to more people across the universe as well. That's basically how the algorithm works. So please do that. And finally, as well, I have a Substack in which I give out loads of resources about dating and attraction and relationships and things like that. There's a link in the description, so please do go there and check that out. Done. All right, thank you. Thank you.